everybody, welcome back live at Drew's house, Joppa Afternoon Drive. Hope you're all doing well out there. Music show, and we got new music in the house. Roger Ebacher right there. He's been on the show before. His new album is Thankfully Here, and he is thankfully here in our Newburyport studios today. Hey, Roger, how are you?
I'm doing very well, as a matter of fact, Drew. Thank you.
Good to see you again. Happy holidays.
Oh, and you too.
I know. Can you believe Christmas season is coming up here already?
No, I can't.
It's not.
Absolutely not.
So new music came out a couple weeks ago. This is the first track, 3 in the afternoon.
That's right.
And
That's right.
I can already see you like this. You're still smiling hearing this. Talk to me a little bit about this album. Where'd it come from? Inspired you? All that stuff.
Well, it's interesting, actually. At least, well, to me, and hopefully to you as well. This is actually the third album in a trilogy, what turns out to be a trilogy that I started during COVID. Remember when everybody was locked down?
Unfortunately, I do. Yes.
Yes, and I too was locked down, and there wasn't much in the way of live going on. But I'm very into the recording environment with my personal studio anyway. So I put out a release in 2020, simply called Essentially. And that was pretty well received, and COVID kept going, and consequently, I did a second release, which was called Hopefully Tomorrow. Okay. As in, hopefully we'll get through all of this by tomorrow. So that was the second release, and so I just kind of kept going over the past year, and here we are in 2022, and thankfully here. And it kind of
feels like the bookend.
It really, There's sort of a piece. There's I think, at least compositionally, there's a thread, and in terms of the overall kind of import or message of the music, it's they do connect.
Right.
And it was interesting that I originally was hoping to get this one out. It had been in the can for a while, so to speak. Yeah. Was trying to get it out more or less around the fall equinox. Didn't happen. A few weeks passed, and I go like, well, okay, let's push forward end of October maybe. And then I went, you know what? Wait a minute. It's called Thankfully Here. Yeah. And what's the first holiday before Christmas? Thanksgiving.
There you go.
And I kind of,
got it out for that. There you go.
Yeah, so I kind of put it together in my head, and I went, no, I think that timing would work. And it seems to be working.
Nice going. You're getting, I mean, it sounds beautiful to us here. I'll pull it up a little bit more here. What made this the first track?
Well, I wanted to open up with something that that felt immediately accessible, that had some rhythm to it. I certainly wanted to showcase the melody flute, which is sort of a unique instrument. Well, it is a unique instrument. Nobody in the world plays it but me. Yeah. In a jazz context, it's I could tell you a lot more about that instrument, but I wanted to open up with that and something not necessarily in 4/4 time. The 3 in the afternoon was sort of a double entendre there. Yeah. 3 meaning the time signature of 3/4. Okay. So. Yeah.
Interesting. All right, so I can't let you get away with that comment without telling me more about. So, what's it like being the only person in the world that how'd you phrase it? Plays it that way, or
well, melody flute is it's a unique instrument. It was made in the late 30s. As a pre-band instrument. Okay. And it's 6 holes, open hole. It looks like a toy. Okay. It's nickel over brass with a cheater mouth, like a whistle type mouthpiece. Certainly not intended to be played in any serious jazz context. Yes. Which I started doing many, many years ago.
You took as a challenge.
Yeah, I just kind of kept going with it and took it seriously. And I've been in many situations, in like jazz circles or other circles where I pull the instrument out and people go, "What is that? And what do you intend to do with it?" And I kind of have the last word with it because I feel pretty liquid with it.
So you walk in rooms with all these great musicians and they go, "What's he going to play?"
Yeah, that's not an alto. It's not even a bohème flute or a transverse flute.
What's the best compliment you've ever had in those circles? Because I bet you turn some heads as soon as.
Well, people say that things like, "Man, you get a lot of you get a lot of sound out of that thing, you know, or people always come up in a live situation, ask me, what is that? Is that a piccolo or is it? And I explain to them and they look at it and they go, wow, how do you even do that?
Yeah.
You know, it's not easy. It's not an easy instrument. It really wants to get out of control very quickly.
That is fascinating. Man, well, that's too cool. You having fun playing? Did you have fun with this album?
I really had a great time with it. I feel like it's one of the strongest things I've done in some time, and I'm pretty comfortable in the recording environment. It's a different animal from live. But I have sort of an audio background, and I've been recording for a long time. Not just me, but other people too. I've recorded lots of people. In the Newburyport area, there are a number of things out there that I've recorded and mixed and mastered and all that stuff.
Right.
But this one really felt like a lot of concepts and ideas that had been at play in my compositional style and my instrumental style for years really kind of have come to a head.
That's cool.
I guess is the best way I can say it without bragging too much. I want to brag about it.
You should, man. It's great. And and it all comes together in such a weird time too. You're at, like you said, you're at home and it's coming out of this pandemic and weird years for everybody. And you're probably thinking about all that stuff as you're playing, these songs and playing these instruments. So, I don't know what you're thinking about when you're doing music, but I imagine that's always the backdrop when you're in a pandemic is the times we're living in, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think the titles, especially of the last two in this, as I said, sort of a trilogy, Hopefully Tomorrow and Thankfully Here, that kind of says something right there.
Yeah.
In terms of, what do we mean by that? Well, the music is the explanation. I think it works with the title.
I'm going to jump to, all right, so help me out a little bit because I'm going to jump to track 3, the French pronunciation here. I'm going to let you say it first.
The track 3 is Nord-Est. Okay. Northeast.
So that's thoughts. Yeah. Help from musicians on this, or?
No, this is actually, the last 3 releases, they're all me. I'm all playing everything.
Wow.
That's something maybe I should have mentioned before. I'm a multi-instrumentalist.
Yeah.
I play the melody flute, what's called a digital horn, all manner of keyboards and virtual instruments that are triggered by the keyboard. Everything that you hear on these releases, including this latest one, it's all me, multi-tracked.
You are a talented individual. Where did this come from? Where did you learn how to play all this stuff? Where did you learn how to be such a multi-instrumentalist and composer? I mean, this is not something that just comes naturally. This is a lot of work, right?
Well, it's a lifelong pursuit.
Yeah.
The first 2 instruments that I ever played were piano and a little another sort of a school pre-band instrument, a flute. It was called a flageolet. I remember getting it in grade school, and I remember with that instrument, everybody bought them it was like 75 cents or something, just ridiculous.
Did you play it in school?
So all the kids at school got them. This guy came around and was selling them, and everybody got them, and most people just went toot toot and put them away.
Right.
And I just kind of kept going with it, playing. One of my favorite things to do is play Christmas songs on that flute.
Good time of year for that.
Yeah, And my older sister, Judy, she actually was a brilliant piano player. She about 10 years old. She was well schooled and well studied. Could play, Mozart, Schubert. Everything. Just like really in an amazing way.
Did you say younger or older? Older sister.
And I was 5 years old, just like watching her play on this massive upright piano in our home, and I was just like mesmerized by that. So whenever she was done, I would jump up on the bench and start knocking out little things there and just making stuff up. And then I started getting a little bit more serious about it.
Did she teach you, or did you just
No,
watch?
I'm self-taught all the way.
Wow.
I've not studied formally.
Did you pick stuff up just from watching her, little things? Or?
I did.
Yeah.
I did. And later on, especially in the 10 year or so period when I was playing straight ahead jazz, I played a lot of different kinds of music with a lot of different kinds of people, not one thing. I haven't always been into jazz.
Yeah.
You know, I've been a front man for funk bands.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about that last time, I remember.
But I really felt like when I was working with jazz people, like these guys grew up with jazz. I did not.
Yeah.
You know, so I was shoulder to shoulder with some people who really knew that stuff from the ground up, and you know, learned an awful lot. Being, you know, I remember being on the stand with Charlie Parker's bass player.
Wow.
You know, one night, you know, just like frightened out of my mind.
I was going to say, that has to be scary, right?
Very scary.
Entering those circles, man.
Oh yeah. You know, I've been in a lot of scary situations like that where you just kind of play up.
Yeah.
You know? And that's, I mean, I think that sort of musical folklore is true. It's like you try to play with people who are better than you.
Yeah.
You know, and that will bring you up. You know, it'll force you to really kind of go there.
I'd imagine, man. That's quite the moment there. Again, the album is Thankfully Here. Roger Ebacher, and I wonder. So I got a CD in my hand. It's funny. We're at the point. So I'm 35. We're at the point where some of these high school kids that come around the station, I'm not even 100% sure they know what this is. You know, I mean,
show them a cassette.
I know. Oh, I know. I said the Walkman one day. Remember the Walkman? And everybody looked at me like I had 10 heads. You know, but the decision to go. I mean, so many people are releasing music just on digital, of course, and I know you can find your stuff there and on your website. What's the website you want to drive people to, by the way?
It's Wixsite. .com, rebasher.wixsite.com/Roger Ebacher. If you just Google my name, you'll be there a while.
Gotcha. And you do the social media thing and that.
Sure. So. Yeah. In the digital realm, my stuff is everywhere. I have a lot of stuff on all the, you know, the major platforms, Amazon, Spotify, all that kind of stuff.
So when you make the decision to throw this guy out, which not every artist does these days.
True.
I know you don't take that lightly. It's a decision you actually think about. What goes into you wanting people to be able to hold this in their hand?
Well, I mean, the last several releases I've done have been digital only. This one I decided to do digital and physical. One of the driving reasons was Christmas is coming. And, you know, friends and family, you know.
Yeah,
like
here, hand it off. Yeah.
You know, some of my friends and family don't do the digital stuff. You know, but I want them to hear the music and, you know.
Yeah. So, no, it is great. I mean, actually, we've done, last time we had you on, I know we were talking about, you know, you worked at the record store down the street, Dino Records, and you were talking about the resurgence of the record itself.
Oh, sure.
Which is, I mean, I don't know when that was. We were talking about that off the air. We think this was pre-pandemic last time we had you on.
I believe so,
and I'm telling you, in that 5-year span, that was a story 5 years ago. The jump to people wanting records is even bigger now. Everybody I know loves, I mean, records are like fully back.
And not only vinyl, but CDs have enjoyed a little bit of a resurgence as well.
You're seeing that too? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I've read a little bit about that. I wonder what's the, I get the records because the records are so in your face. They're they're beautiful. Like it's the full epitome of the artwork and everything. So what do you think the appeal is with the CD?
Well, I think the appeal for the CD for a listener is there are some situations where you need something portable where an LP is not going to work.
True. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
For an artist, for a merch table,
that makes sense.
It's a lot more affordable to produce and manufacture something on CD than it is vinyl. Short run vinyl is still, for some people, prohibitively expensive.
Yeah.
You know, whereas CDs they're still viable for an independent artist.
Yeah, no, okay, that does make sense to me. So maybe that is why, because all the kids, of course, they're all doing the streaming, and like I said, they probably don't even know, a lot of them, what this is. Because I mean, some cars stopped making CD players. Right. I mean, some of the newer ones. Mine still has a CD player, and I still love it.
And yet, you know, some of the major artists, the Harry Styles, Taylor Swift's, the big pop artists, they're releasing on all formats at this point. LP, CD, even cassette.
Yeah, you go into your record store, you'll see Taylor Swift is the first one you see. I was just seeing that the other day.
Right, in every format there is, So.
Let's do another taste of the record here. Again, the record is thankfully here. Roger Ebacher. Let's go to track 2 here, which is bounced around a little, which is, typical Drew. Eastern Standard here. Do you still get like a rush when you hear these things of
I still like listening to it.
Yeah.
It's like
it is a weird question, but it's like kind of a good question. Do you like
it's actually a real question because when you're in the process of composing, tracking, mixing, and then auditioning a physical product once it's been made, you get to hear your stuff about 50 times.
Yeah.
Minimum.
Right.
Okay. So if you're not sick of it by the 57th time, that's pretty good, and I'm not sick of it.
That's a good bar for you.
Yeah.
So when people hear you described as a multi-instrumentalist, which obviously you are, and this is again all you on this, very simple terms, like really break it down for me. What goes into like producing a song? I mean, so you recording the one instrument by yourself, you lay that track down, now you have that piece of the puzzle.
Yep.
Now you move to the second one.
Yep.
And now are you playing the other piece loudly and then playing to that first piece?
Right. So you'll there's no necessarily one method.
Yeah.
A lot of these arrive in different ways in terms of how they get processed and composed. Sometimes the composition will start with a rhythm. Sometimes it will start with a chord sequence. Sometimes it's just a bass line. Sometimes it's a melody line. So they all evolve in a fairly organic way. I mean, that's one of the things that I feel is true of this. In fact, I think I mentioned something like this in the liner notes, is that even though it is multi-tracked and there's a lot of technology involved, it still sounds kind of organic and natural. And yeah.
Well, that is kind of the point too, right? When you hear this, it sounds like you're sitting down with 5 of your best friends there playing somewhere, right?
Yeah. Well, I go after that kind of a vibe. I mean, it's I want it to feel real and like a real ensemble playing.
I was just thinking the sun's trying to shine through our windows here, so I pulled up Daydreamer just for fun. Which brings me to another part of the CD, which I like. So I remember as a kid, I would used to just pick songs that I liked the titles of. When I was really young, I don't do that anymore, and I just happened to look. I said, let's play Daydreamer, just because the title, I haven't heard that before, and here we are.
That's actually the oldest song on the whole collection.
This is the oldest one?
Yeah.
When'd you put this one together?
That one, originally, I had no recording of it, but I was playing that as far back as probably about 86.
Wow, okay.
And I did release one version of it on a CD called To Dream, To Dance.
Oh, okay.
And that goes back to like 2004. And then I decided, I don't know, I felt a different approach to it. I don't always do that. Sometimes, usually, more often than not, if I've finished a recording, I feel like that's a document in time of that particular piece.
Gotcha.
But there's something about this piece that has spoken to me for a long time, for decades, really, and I decided I wanted to do a new version of it.
So you like Daydreamer. I'm happy I pulled this one up.
Yeah. I am too.
I wonder, you have already mentioned how you've played with everybody. You've done funk bands. You're not in this one box.
No.
But I do wonder, when you're writing these songs, these beautiful instrumentals, and of course you don't need anything else. Do you ever get approached by people to maybe for lyrics to it? Like, I'd love to put lyrics to that, or that's a beautiful piece of music. Can we build off that? Or is that kind of like, what? No, that's untouchable.
Not quite, but I do have people. In 2016, I put out a release called Local Vocal, which was all vocal material.
Wow.
And I made my living as a singer for a long time.
Yeah.
and that one had music that went back to like 1982 up until 2016.
Wow.
It was like a career spanning kind of thing. Of all vocal material. That was very well received. People really loved it. You know, it was. I did maybe 3 covers. I did a Joni Mitchell cover. I did a John Martin cover, and I did an old jazz standard. But everything else was me. And again, it was me on all the instruments plus the vocals. So people will ask if they know that I'm a singer. Are there any vocals on this one? No, it's not. That's like, that feels like another part of me. I feel like some kind of like several personalities or something.
Like, is it a part of you that you could jump back into, or is it like
yeah. I put out a single actually earlier this year, a single just called Light. And that's on the all the digital platforms.
So when you say a different part of you, though, it's just, so when you're doing an album as just an instrumental, as a multi-instrumentalist, and you're just in a certain headspace where this is how this is going to go, and this is where I'm at right now, and that's what you're hearing.
Yes and no. I mean, like, I don't have any preconceived ideas about an album when I do them. I don't really filter what comes through. I feel like, you know, in the perfect situation, I'm a channel.
Gotcha.
Okay, so ideas come, and then I decide, do I want to go down that rabbit hole or not?
Do I follow
pursue that one?
Yeah.
Usually I do. Sometimes, I mean, I have plenty of half-finished or unfinished things.
Yeah.
But some, if they really speak to me strongly, then I'll go on to the completion of it. Yeah. So sometimes I'll have a vague concept of an album, but more often than not, what I'm doing, not filtering what is coming through, is just recording. And then once or twice during the year, I'll sort of take inventory. Okay, what do we have here? Do any of these belong together? Do they feel like they are in the same club?
Yeah.
And some songs don't make the cut.
Yeah.
You know, I have a
wrong place, wrong time.
quite a number of songs that didn't make the cut for one particular concept or another. I'm actually thinking about maybe the next release might possibly be a collection of things that are really not a collection, but things that didn't really kind of, you know, like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. I mean, man, all the big artists have that, right? I mean, that's the. I know they call them different things, but some of the best albums from artists were the stuff that they threw away, right? Or left on the floor. You never really throw them away, do you? You just
no.
They're just kind of on the floor waiting to be picked up.
But I like to have a cohesive concept in mind, like this new one, and in the trilogy, all 3 pieces, they feel like they all are cohesive.
Again, thankfully here, Roger Ebacher joining us. And this is Ever Forever, correct?
That's right.
Fairly new?
Yeah, I mean, that one is was actually based on a Turkish pop tune.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the harmony was based on a Turkish pop tune.
Gotcha.
But if you listen to that tune and this, you would not get any relationship whatsoever.
And where do you first stumble upon the Turkish pop tune?
In this case, I found it as just a chord chart in an application,
Gotcha.
a music app that has just chords and rhythm, no melodies.
You tried it and you liked it.
Yeah, and I liked the chord sequence, and I went, I can do something with that chord sequence. And nobody owns a chord progression.
Yeah.
As somebody who teaches piano in theory, I tell my students that all the time.
Yeah.
You know, nobody owns a chord progression.
Yeah.
Okay. You can't copyright that.
That's what that stuff comes up all the time in the news these days.
Oh, sure,
That's exactly. They stole that from. You must kind of. I mean, well, I won't put words in your mouth. What's your take when you hear those lawsuits and you stole that from that band from the '80s?
I mean, most of it's just. You know, I poo-poo most of it.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes it's an obvious ripoff.
Yeah.
But how does that saying go? You know, the best artists steal. Okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, I mean, how much is really new under the sun? I mean, I'm trying to find that out every time I compose. You know, to try to come up with something new and different. And I feel like I have a unique sound. But it's hard, you know. Like if you talk about the blues, for example, you know, 3-chord blues are traditional country music. There's 3 or 4 chord progressions. You know, if you want to teach somebody the blues, teach them, you know, a 1-4-5 blues, and they know 500 tunes.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, so who owns the chord progression? Nobody.
That always makes me think there was a. I'll pull this back a little bit. There was a Tom Petty story before he died, where some young artist was getting criticized for stealing a Tom Petty song, and I always thought it was the coolest reaction, good rock star reaction of he just laughed and said, "There's only so many of those chords to go around, and they're fine." Amen. You know, and I just thought it was a cool reaction. I don't even remember who the young artist was, but
no, it's not the chord progression that makes it yours.
Yeah,
you know, it's your emotion, your words if you have them.
Yep.
You know, your voice on your instrument.
Yep.
You know.
No, it's fun. I like this. This is the closing track here. This is Thankfully Here. So this is the title track. Again, what's the artwork? Is that
that's
local?
Actually I took that photo. That's Plum Island.
You know what? If I had to guess, I would have said that's Plum Island.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful neck of the woods up here. I like that and again, Roger Ebacher. Thankfully Here is the album. When you think back to this third piece of your puzzle here, what do you think about? Do you think about the brightening life coming out of the pandemic, or do you think about do you go back to those quarantine days, because maybe this is all kind of still on your mind when you're thinking about this, or what do you think of when you think of Thankfully Here?
Well, I mean, I feel thankful that I am here. When you look at the past several years, you know, people that have been lost to illness, and
probably friends of yours. I know friends of mine.
Oh, I have lost a number of colleagues and friends over the past several years. The jazz community has certainly lost a lot of people, and you know, it gives one pause. It makes you think. Okay, you know, you're still here. There must be a reason. You know, be thankful. Say thank you. Be the best you can be. Keep moving. Keep going.
Ooh, that's kind of a sweet message to end on here as we go into the Christmas season, isn't it? Holiday plans? What do you guys usually do as you head into the new year?
Gonna stay local.
Stay low, yeah.
I would say low key.
Do you like the winter time?
What I like about the winter is that when we get into the deep dark January, February, I really go interior. I get a lot of composing and recording done during that period.
Yeah.
And I also like, as a listener too, like I'm sort of a seasonal listener.
Yeah.
I've discovered, I guess I have to admit it. Like during the summer, I'm listening to all that upbeat Brazilian, Cuban, Afro-Cuban stuff.
Yeah.
I play a lot of that stuff. I write a lot of that stuff during that time of year.
You go to Plum Island and listen to it.
Yeah, and then you get to January, February, and I'm listening to all that like deep dark slash your wrist, Nordic, dark, moody stuff, and I love it. I just kind of it's cool. Funny. So. Both as a listener and as a composer, the winter is actually an interesting time.
All right. Well, so we'll come see you after the winter and see what you created this winter. How about that?
Well, hopefully I'll have something. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Roger, I always enjoy having you on. Roger Ebacher. The album is Thankfully Here, just out. People can still find you at Dino Records. They want to come by and talk about the music.
Come on by.
Learn how to play. How many instruments? How many instruments you know these days?
Oh, my God. I don't know how many instruments I play. Quite a few.
There you go. Pretty much if you want to learn anything, you can go talk to Roger about it and get a whole history of it all. I really always enjoy having you in, Roger. Good luck with the release here. And
thank you very, very much.
And it's great, and I'm glad we got a taste to listen to it here in Newburyport this afternoon. This was a lot of fun.
Thank you.
Happy holidays to you and yours, all right?
And you as well.
All right, thanks you. Sarah Blackstone producing, Ryan Rothberg. They're all producing the show today. Sarah Hayden, the boss. They're my small but mighty team here in Newburyport that do all the hard work. We appreciate them. Happy holidays to you all. Roger, thank you. Live at Drew's House, another edition from our Newburyport NCM Hub studios. Thanks, everybody. Peace.